Both the men and women's track and field teams competed in the Spartan Invitational in East Lansing on Saturday. Grand Valley had 7 student athletes hit provisional marks as the Lakers get the outdoor season going. Joining us now is the Butler Bulldogs' own Jerry Baltes. Jerry, let's talk about Butler. 2 years in a row in the national championship game. You think you guys are going to finally get it done tonight against UConn?
Well, let's hope so. I mean, last year I was able to get down to Indianapolis and be at the championship game, and it was an exciting atmosphere. So hopefully this year the defense can shut down Walker and UConn and win it all.
All right. Your team coming off strong indoor seasons, obviously GLIAC champs for men and women, the national championship for the women. What do you hope you can get out of it now going forward?
Well, as we came off the indoor season, our goal was to win all 6 GLIAC championships throughout the year, with cross country in the fall, men and women, indoor, and then now the final piece at the conference level is the outdoor GLIAC championship. So that's a focus for us at the conference level. And the women have won the national championship in the fall in cross country and then indoor. So final piece there is winning the outdoor championship. But we're not going to focus on that. We said we got to focus on the day-to-day process of getting better and really focusing on trying to get as many athletes to the national championships and then being ready to compete once we get there.
These are some highlights here of the invitational that you had this past weekend at Michigan State. Jerry, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you see here?
Well, first meet of the year, you never know what you're going to get weather-wise. And we got a little bit of everything. The sun was out occasionally, but mostly chilly winds and a little bit of rain and sleet. And fortunately for our jumpers, the pole vaulters, high jumpers, long jumpers, they got to compete inside and avoid the nasty weather. We had some good performances there. The pole vault and the high jump athletes can actually qualify for safety reasons for the outdoor national championship at an indoor venue, whereas the long jump cannot. But from safety purposes, they held that indoors just to protect the athletes as we move forward throughout the season.
Standout athletes this past weekend at this event. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the individual performances?
Yeah, Sam Lockhart in the throws picked up where she left off indoor. She scored in 2 events at the indoor championships, and she qualified and hit provisional marks in 2 events, the shot put and discus, so that was good to see that get going. Our men's 4x1 relay ran a real nice race on the first time of the year here, and that's the challenge coming out, getting going with the weather. It's sort of just a rust buster, icebreaker, see where we're at and be ready to move forward throughout the season from here.
What are some of the challenges, Jerry, of outdoor track and field as opposed to all the success that you had indoor? Obviously, weather. But yeah, how do you get the student athletes prepared to deal with it?
Well, no doubt the weather plays a huge part, and as you probably saw in the highlights here, it's a heck of a lot more comfortable indoors and not having to worry about bundling up in between races and whatnot. But I haven't figured out a way to control that yet, so we just have to deal with it, prepare and practice. Biggest thing at this point of the year, you know, our student athletes are 3 weeks away from final exams, so you get that stress of dealing with classes and staying focused there, and then trying to get going with an outdoor season. So we just got to keep our kids focused on the goals and the task at hand. Of course, number one, academically, staying on top of their classes and moving forward and preparing for finals. And then trying to get a little bit better each week here, and whatever the weather provides for us in a race situation, be ready to compete at a high level.
It's always interesting as a coach, I would assume, to be able to see how your student athletes at the Division II level at Grand Valley size up against D1 talent, right?
Well, that's one thing we take great pride in when we're recruiting student athletes. We talk about our program being a D1 program with the D2 label on it. So that means every week in practice, we've got D1 caliber student athletes in our program that we get to compete with and against, and then we try to get to as many D1 meets to see that competition, to challenge us, and to prepare us for later in the season when we do go against strictly D2 competition at the GLIAC championships and down the road at the national championships.
And what's coming up for your team this week?
Well, this week we'll have a split squad. Our track side of things, the throwers, jumpers, sprinters, hurdlers, will travel to Miami, Ohio, another D1 meet, get great competition. Our distance kids will stay close at home here to Fair State up the road, low-key competition. And then 2 weeks down the road, our distance kids will go out to California, try to hit some big qualifying marks, and the rest of our track kids down to Purdue for another high-quality meet.
All right, Coach. Best of luck to you the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
You betcha. Coming up next will be head softball coach Doug Woods to talk about some exciting wins this weekend.